You can have everything in the world, but if your self-image of yourself is horrible, then you're going to have a tough time being truly content in life. You could have everything in the world. You could have all the materialistic things. But if your self-image of yourself is so low that you find yourself afraid to do things that you know you could be doing, then you're never going to be fully content in life until you address the problem. And there's nothing wrong with having that problem in your life, just as long as you take care of it, you attend it, you take care of it right away. If you have a business and your customer complains, your customer has a problem, if you don't address that problem right away, it's going to hurt your business. They're no longer going to do business with you. They're going to spread your name in a bad light, and they're going to tell everyone you're horrible. It's going to affect your business if you don't attack it right away, if you don't go after it immediately. And that's what a lot of people need to understand, is that a lot of the problems, such as low self-image and low self-worth, you think it's okay, whatever. You distract yourself with all these other things, but understand that it's the same way. If you don't attend a problem, over time it'll grow into something way bigger. What happens if you have a business and someone's not very happy, and all of a sudden you don't pay attention to them, you don't tend their needs, you don't fix the problem, you don't address it right away, it gets worse. So eventually you're gonna have 10,000 reviews on Yelp saying horrible things about you, and it all could have been handled. It all could have been killed if you would have simply just done the small things. That's the same thing for everything in life. That's the lesson, is that in everything in life, even if you're in a relationship, right? It starts with you going on the first date and the woman shows up late. And slowly over time, you think that's okay, right? She shows up 5 minutes late. Eventually, she shows up 10 minutes late. Eventually, she shows up an hour late. Eventually, she just flakes on you and doesn't really care to let you know. And because she knows you're still going to show up the next day, because you're not addressing the problem right away. So eventually, it gets worse. Anything that you either do more of in a positive way or in a negative way, it's going to get worse. Behavior gets better or it gets worse. It does not stay the same, okay? So if you have a low self-image of yourself, this could be seen in things such as being afraid to approach women, being afraid to go talk to that woman that you find attractive. And it's not even about the woman. Because let me explain this to you. A man who has nothing, but knows he has his balls, something that cannot be taken from him, and knows no matter where he's at, no matter what material possession he has, doesn't matter if he's homeless. I'm not saying that's the ideal situation, right? You're a bum. If you're homeless, you're a bum. Respectfully, you are a bum. But if a man has nothing, and here's the other man on the other hand, which has everything the world can offer, but this man has his balls and this guy doesn't, this guy has a good self-image of himself and this guy doesn't, this guy's gonna be more content as a man because he knows he's not afraid of taking that step, of taking that risk, of putting his ass on the line, on going out there and approaching that woman, even though she could reject him, she could say no, it could be embarrassing, it could be humiliating. But at the end of the day, this man might not have all the material possessions, but he still has his balls and he still has a high self-image of himself, meaning he views himself as someone who is equal or above others, as opposed to the man who has a low self-image of himself, meaning if you're afraid to approach women, if you are afraid to take that risk, to quit your job, to do whatever it is you've been fearing the most, to start a YouTube channel, to record yourself, the list goes on and on. The reason is because your self-image is down here. If you're afraid to approach a woman, you see the women up here and you see yourself as down here. So when you are going to go talk to her, you see yourself as trying to prove yourself and come up here to talk to her, right? You're down here. Let me prove to her that I'm good enough. And hopefully, see, that's the problem. The validation of yourself is put in the other person's hand. That's what happens when you have a low self-image of yourself, is you put the validation that you should hold of yourself and you put it in the hands of other people. That's what a low self-image is. Because here's a woman, right? Here's a woman. Here are you. You're afraid to go approach this woman because you have a low self-image. Your validation is in her hands. And what you think is, if I approach her, I'm up here, right? No, maybe you're down here. If I approach her and I'm down here and I try, and then she doesn't give me the validation that I want, now I'm down here. Now I'm not the man who I thought I was. Now all of a sudden I'm a loser because your validation is in the hands of another person instead of you validating yourself and having a high self-image of yourself as, this is the woman, this is you at least. This is you at least. At least you're equal, right? If you have a high self-image of yourself, at least you guys are equal. I'm gonna go talk to this woman. She says no, okay, we part ways, no problem. I still have my validation. She doesn't validate me. I don't depend on a woman, on a stranger at that, to tell me who I am because I know myself. So at least you must be equal if you have a good self-image of yourself. If you have a high self-image of yourself, you see yourself as up here and the woman down here, right? And you feel as though you're giving her an opportunity. You're giving her a chance, a gift, something that doesn't come in a million years. You're giving her a free lottery ticket. You're giving her the Willy Wonka golden ticket. And if she says no, oh well, she just blocked her blessing, right? Because you see yourself as up here, you see yourself as down here. And to be honest with you, women tend to go for the guys who view themselves up here because women want to feel as though they have to prove themselves to you in a way. They might not say it, but women say they want something, but in reality, they don't act the way they say they want. They say they want something, but in reality, they move differently. So when you really think about it, a feminine woman really wants a man who sees himself as that guy, a guy who sees himself as the man, the fucking man. So she can look up to you. She wants to look up to you. She wants to look up to you, but if you have a low self-image of yourself, she looks down on you. She's looking down on you. If you have a low self-image of who you are and you don't really know who you are, she looks down on you because you look down on yourself and you look up to others. And that, having a low self-image, is going to forever keep you a slave because you're always going to be trying to prove yourself to others. Trying to prove yourself, hey, this is who I am. Hey, I'm better than I am. Trying to make yourself a much bigger person to try to prove to others. You find that with people who have a low self-image of themselves, but when you have a good self-image or a high self-image of yourself, you don't need the validation of others. You don't need to wear brand name clothes. You don't need to be doing all these things to try to impress others because you hold the keys to your validation. You validate yourself. And that's why having a high self-image of yourself is important if you want to be content as a man. If you want to look in the mirror every day and say, I'm that fucking man, and actually mean it. So begin by attacking the problem. So if you have a low self-image of yourself, it's because you haven't given yourself many reasons. You haven't given yourself many reasons to have a high self-image of yourself. Until you have this low self-image of yourself and you continue to act in a way that is conducive to a low self-image, then you aren't going to raise your view of yourself. You're not going to have a better relationship with yourself until you actually start giving yourself reasons. Because let's use an analogy of the bank, right? If you have a bad credit score with your bank and you don't pay your credit cards on time, you have them maxed out, you have a bunch of loans, and you don't pay them back, what happens? They view you as someone who has bad credit, someone who does not have, someone who does not pay back, they can't trust you. So it's the same thing. If you don't change something about that situation, you're not going to raise your credit with the bank. They're not going to see you as someone, oh, look, this guy changed. He has good credit now. He is someone who is responsible. Why is that? Because you haven't changed anything. So if you expect your self-image to go from down here to up here, but you haven't changed anything, then you're crazy. You're crazy. And I don't mean that with any disrespect, but you are insane if you think that it's going to change. See, I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to do. You need to attack the problem head on, meaning if you're afraid to approach a woman, what do? You approach a woman. It sounds simple. It might get you nervous. You might even be scared. But until you start to do this, your self-image will forever stay down here and you will always seek the validation of others. It's not until you start taking action and you start showing yourself, hey, I could do this. This wasn't that bad. Okay, I was nervous when I approached her. All right, I got rejected. All right, I got over it. Okay, I did it again. Okay. And then you start seeing success and now your self-image starts to go up because you see that you're trying. You see that you're not afraid to take that risk, to put your ass on the line. You're not afraid to make that video and get on camera, even if people talk shit, because you have a good self-image of yourself, and you will start to raise your self-image of yourself when you start to do the things that you mostly fear. If you fear making a YouTube channel, but you know deep down inside you would like to do it, then do it. There's no way to cheat the system. There's no way. You can cheat the system by making others think that you're something that you're not, by making others think that you're rich, by making others think that you're confident, whatever the case may be, but deep down inside, you know. So until you start showing yourself reasons why you should be more confident, you should have a higher self-image of yourself, you're gonna remain at the level that you're at, all right? I should have put this at the beginning of the video. Fuck. Anyone who is good at making thumbnails, if you guys stayed to the end of this video, make sure to send me an email at optimalmancoaching@gmail.com. Send me an email. I want to work with you. I want to find someone who can make really good thumbnails for me. Let me know. Hit me up. All right? Peace out.